Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Sam's33 here, and welcome to another episode of the show about Pokemon TCG stuff, Mix Up. And today we're going to be talking about a combo that probably doesn't seem like much to you. Gigalith from Dragons Exalted with Celebi EX, of course. I talked about this back in my Dragons Exalted set review, and yeah, it doesn't really seem like much. But I don't really have much else for the today episode, the today episode. And yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it. I mean, yeah, doesn't seem like the best combo, but I tried it out anyway. I am kind of running out of ideas. I think I have one more idea, and then I say that, and probably 2 weeks later I'll be like, oh, I know of an idea. So yeah, let's just get on to the episode itself.
So this is quite the odd combo, isn't it? Most of you probably don't even know what Gigalith does. Well, it has 140 HP, a grass weakness, no resistance, and 4 retreat. It has 2 attacks. The first, Revenge Cannon, for fighting, and 2 colorless. It does 10 damage, plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on each of your bench Pokemon. This attack could add up to some really high damage, but how would you get that damage on your bench anyway? Well, Pre-Evolution Boldore, for the same energy cost, has Earthquake, which does 60 damage and 10 to all of your bench Pokemon. But you might add, Boldore only has 90 HP. You can't have that thing attacking. Well, that's where Celebi EX comes in. Celebi allows your evolved Pokemon to use all the attacks of their pre-evolutions. The energy cost could be a bit high for most, as you need 2 or 3 energy for you to do any real damage, and even then, you need to build up some damage with Earthquake before you start reaching the hundreds. And Earthquake isn't that strong. Donphan Prime did the same thing for 1 energy back in Heart Gold Soul Silver, and that wasn't really that strong once the EXs came out. Second attack, Reckless Charge, for 2 fighting and 2 colorless, does 120 damage, and he takes 40 damage. Sound familiar? Well, it's the same attack as Zekrom Black and White's Volt Strike, but it costs more energy and it's on a stage 2. You can tell this card was made for Revenge Cannon rather than Reckless Charge. After hearing that, you probably just suggested this deck to Tuka to use on Bad Deck Monday. Celebi is always there for 2 easy prizes from your opponent, and it takes too long to do much damage at all. But that didn't stop me. I needed an episode for this week, dang it. Let's look at the list I gave all of you last week. The thick Gigalith flying a 4/4/4 is mostly due to it being the main attacker. There's a lot of Boldore due to you wanting to evolve through Boldore rather than Rare Candy. So Gigalith can use Earthquake. The Rock and Roll that you'd want to use is probably the one from Dragons Exalted, the same set as the Gigalith and Boldore we're using. It has 70 HP and 3 retreat, so you can use Heavy Ball to search out all 3 of them. However, for some reason, PlayTCG and Bebe Search, the site that hosts PlayTCG, don't have this card anywhere on their database, so I had to use this one from Emerging Powers. It has 60 HP, 2 retreat, but its first attack is a bit better than the Dragon's Exalted one. It can help a bit against Tornadus EX without a Stadium, or Rayquaza Dragon Balls, I guess. Landers, from Noble Victories, is an early game attacker that can hit your own bench, and can accelerate energy to himself if you discard some with Ultra Ball or Juniper. Rare Candy is just in case you can't wait to get your Gigalith out, and Earthquake has become next to useless by this point. Easy Light is to protect Celebi EX from harm, since if you hit it enough, it will become far too easy for your opponent to KO, and easier than it already is, of course. There's a list, and I gotta say, it is really bad. I couldn't get enough damage on my bench because Earthquake was just such a terrible attack. I couldn't evolve Rock and Roll up to Gigalith fast enough by falling through Boldore all the time. And more often than not, Boldore would have to attack out a Gigalith, so it would be one shot, and I just lost all my energy. That's another problem, I couldn't get enough energy. I often had to miss attacks because all my low energy attacks suck. Rocket Cannon can only get you so far. Next was the 1.5 list. This was more or less the same idea, but this time with the outrage dragons such as Zekrom and Kyurem instead of Landorus. This made it kind of like the old Donphan Dragons deck back in the early days of Heart Gold Soul Silver on, which was to deal damage to dragons with Earthquake, both Donphan and Pulpus attacks are named Earthquake, and then use Outrage to deal some easy damage, sometimes to counter specific other Pokemon, but this time, Revenge Cannon was another option of backup. Here is the list. Instead of using one of each dragon, which by the way aren't dragon type, mind blown, I used the second Zekrom instead of one Reshiram for Tornadus EX, and because I thought Fire was a useless type. But now that I think about it, Reshiram could be used against Shaman Sweeps, and Gigalith is weak to Shaman. Mewtwo was because Gigalith uses a lot of energy as it is, so Mewtwo is quite powerful against it. The XP share was an attempt to give the deck some energy acceleration. that's enough talking. Time to get to the talking. This deck was also terrible. I'm pretty sure I didn't win a single game with either build. Well, time to give up, right? Wrong! I gave Gigalith one last chance to not suck, and I came up with Reuniclus. Reuniclus. The memories. Anyways, anytime Gigalith takes a hit, you move the damage to a big bench Pokemon like Zekrom and Kyurem with Reuniclus, which accumulates damage much faster than Earthquake. Here's the list I'm using. As you've probably seen, I don't run Duosion. This deck is so tight on space that I had to skip out on it. But looking back at it, since I only have the 3 rare candies, I probably should have included one Duosion, or maybe another rare candy, since if you lose all 3 candies, you can't get a Reuniclus out. As I said, I have 3 rare candies this time. Firstly, because you need them to get Reuniclus out. Secondly, because Boldore isn't quite as necessary. Other than that, not much else to say other than things I've already said when talking about the previous deck list. This deck hasn't been tested much, but it's currently 2-0 against some really bad decks. But that's better than the 1.5 version, losing to the Emboar Reshiram sample list, which was out of format, by the way. I would recommend taking out a Boldore for either another rare candy or a Duosion, though. I may test a little more with this deck in the future, but this is all I can offer for you at the moment. I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be that great, since again, I didn't face that many great decks. But my next cities and regionals are pretty far away, so I might as well try to make this a decent deck.
So yeah, there's your deck. As I said, not that much of a great combo, but it does have some potential. That Reuniclus thing could come back from the dead and be awesome, but probably not. But anyway, I guess I should also mention that the supposed end of the world has just passed, so if you're watching this, you probably have already survived the end of the world, so yeah, good for surviving that. Yeah, see you next year, guys. Anyway, yeah, I should say there's not going to be an episode next week, and I think I'm going to, from now on, I'm probably going to do once every 2 weeks, I'll have an episode, unless it's something else I kind of want to talk about. Because if it's just these, kind of rogue decks, I mean, you can't even hold in rogue decks at this point, but if it's just these, not these obscure decks that I'm going to be talking about, I want time to test them, because I feel like in this just week I get to play, in just this 1 week, I get to play, 10 games with the deck, maybe not even that much, and then I try out a second variant and play, 1 or 2 games with that one. But if I have 2 weeks, I can probably think of more ideas and test out those ideas for you to see. So, yeah. That's that. Not just to say. Yeah. No an episode next week, so hope you all have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever, for this year. And I guess next episode of Mix Up will be next year. So, as I said earlier, I'll see you guys next year for more Mix Up. Thanks for watching. See you then. Later.